Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's Road to Conference session. Today, we'll be focusing on all things related to exhibiting at APAP NYC. I'd like to introduce the members of the APAP team that you'll be hearing from today. Ashayla Bird, Conference Production Associate. J.G. Decker, Conference Specialist. Sam Myers, Chief Strategy and External Affairs Advisor. Neo Nanor Madison, Chief Operations Officer, and Sue Noseworthy, Senior Manager, Conference and Membership Experience. Today's agenda, we'll be discussing what is APAP NYC, who is APAP NYC for, how to exhibit, and we'll have a peer panel on how and why I participate in the EXPO Commons, followed by Q&A from veterans and newcomers and in between. And then we'll go into next steps. What is APAP NYC? APAP NYC is the world's largest gathering of the performing arts presenting, booking, and touring industry. It's our annual members conference for the Association of Performing Arts Professionals. The upcoming conference dates are January 9th through the 13th. The conference will be taking place at the New York Hilton Midtown and at venues across New York City. Working on APAP NYC, we have a conference committee comprised of members of the field to ensure that our conference is of our membership and that we are most relevant to the issues of membership in the moment. We'd like to introduce our conference committee co-chairs, Chisa Yamaguchi, Laura Sweet, Mark Wilson, Sarah Hagg, Chris Kaminsky, and Aaron Shackelford. Working along with the co-chairs is our full conference committee. We welcome and we thank the conference committee for all the work they do in support of APAP NYC. Key elements of APAP NYC are networking and interest groups. We have affinity groups and forums that take place before the official start of the conference on Friday afternoon with our opening plenary. There are over 1,000 showcases happening both in the Hilton Midtown and throughout the New York City. We have professional development sessions. We have 3 floors of exhibiting space in our EXPO Commons. And there are opportunities for discovery, which include up next, artist discovery sessions, 5 minutes to shine, APAP honors, and mentoring opportunities as well. Next, I would like to turn things to my colleague, Sue Noseworthy, to discuss who APAP NYC is for.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Sue Noseworthy, the Senior Conference and Membership Experience Manager, and we're very grateful to see all of your faces and very excited to see everybody very soon in New York. So let's start with who is APAP for. So we wanted to share a little bit of information about who attends the conference and who you'll meet when you arrive in New York City. APAP NYC is a convening for arts professionals currently working in or aspiring to work in the performing arts presenting, booking, and touring field. Attendees represent all genres and disciplines and come from all 50 states and approximately 31 countries. And this means you'll meet and interact with performing arts professionals and workers from all over the globe at our event, which is one of the things that makes the APAP Booking Conference so special and unique. To give you a little bit more detail, demographic detail about who you will meet at our conference, approximately 47% of attendees are presenters. And by presenters, we mean the staff of venues, stages, and festivals who put artists on their stages and pay artist fees. 13% of attendees are artists, 26% of attendees are agents and managers, and 14% are other. And this includes people like producers, consultants, students, and other professionals working in our industry. I also wanted to make note about the types of professionals who attend our event. Our attendees are not exclusively executives or programmers and senior leadership, although they certainly make up a large portion of who attends. But we also have staff from our members' marketing departments, box office, communications, development, So you'll meet staff working at many different levels of all of our member organizations and in many different roles, which is actually great as well because it exposes you to all different sectors of our industry. As noted, APAP NYC is a members only conference, and that does mean that you or your organization or company will need to join APAP as a member before you can register for the conference. The good news is that we have many membership categories and rates to fit every type of arts worker and every type of budget. So please take a look at the membership tab on our website and feel free to reach out to a team member if you need help figuring out the best membership for you. Myself and my colleagues, Keisha Shorter and Ashayla Bird, are available to assist you at any time, and you can reach us at info@apap365.org. We also wanted to remind everyone that APAP has a number of services available that help ensure that everyone can participate fully in our event, because APAP is for everyone, and our goal is to make APAP NYC as accessible as possible. APAP recognizes the importance of leading with a people-first, relationship-based approach in our practice and our spaces. Our offerings this year will include on-site accessibility support available during conference and expo hours. There will also be accessible signage, accessible spaces for wheelchair users and other mobility needs. We'll also be offering water in every on-site room space, as well as stimulus-free quiet spaces. There will be lactation and nursing pods available. Additionally, gender-inclusive, wheelchair-accessible companion restrooms will be available. And there will be captioning and ASL for all primary sessions. We will also provide individualized assistance and coordination upon request. Another feature we have available again this year on our website, which is www.apap365.org, you'll see a little red icon on the bottom of the screen on many of our website pages. If you click on this icon, you'll see that it provides different ways to help make the website more accessible to you, and will include a variety of ways that you can make apap365.org more friendly to your needs. A few examples of this include adjustments for those with color blindness, visual impairments, MS, among many other options that we hope will improve your experience of our website while you are browsing it. We also wanted to give a shout out to our wonderful Marcoms team, Jenny Thomas and Grace Asuncion, for ensuring that our website pages are inclusive and accessible. And now, everybody, we're going to pivot into the really important component of this webinar, which is how to participate in the APAP Expo Hall. So in order to purchase a booth, one person from the exhibiting organization must purchase a full conference registration and must purchase a full organizational membership. Our team members are available to assist you with this if you need it, but we did want to just provide that reminder to you all. A booth purchase includes a dedicated landing page on the APAP NYC online platform, and you may purchase up to 2 exhibit spaces total for each organization. Another reminder for you all is that all booth spaces are 8 by 10 feet, and all exhibit spaces cost $895. Booth badges cost $295 each, and exhibiting organizations that purchase 1 booth may purchase up to 3 badges. Exhibiting organizations that purchase 2 booths may purchase 7 booth badges. And from here, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, JG Decker, who will provide more information about exhibiting at APAP NYC. JG, take it away.
Perfect. All exhibitors will get, as a part of their package, an online landing platform. Think of it as like a digital booth for you so that you can have everything set up just in case people are, running back and forth between things. They can start, they can like it, they can find their way to you because, again, it's not one big exhibit hall, it's actually 3 big exhibit halls. So it's very helpful in being able to find folks and being able to navigate, and you be able to sort based upon specific genres or things that you're looking for, or just, you want to discover something new. And you'll be able to post your roster, videos, as well as your location inside the hall. And we'll go to the next slide. Again, this is an example. Perfect. So promoting your exhibit space. Um, I always tell folks that the real work doesn't happen actually on site at APAP. It's going to be in these months coming up. And the really great time is that we're going to be launching our attendee list in the coming weeks, which will have everybody's information listed on it, from an exhibitor to a presenter, and all sorts of details. We get very minute about what we ask people about, what they're looking for, booking fees, the location, all types of information so that you can narrow the list down to start setting up meetings for this. So that's one great way that's going to be promoting your exhibit space, is finding those people that you want to connect with and then going out there and saying, hey, I'm going to be at booth, 000 in the Expo Hall. I'm going to be on America's Hall 1, and then you can start setting up those meetings. The other great way is that on site, you'll be able to deck your booth out as much as you want. Everything comes with 2 chairs, 2 tables, pipe and draping, waste basket, just the bare essentials for that. And then you can add on more from our show decorator to really deck it out. If you want a TV, if you want more space to do things, and really like show things about what your work is. You can really kind of go creative with it. And I'm going to take over for just a hot second and kind of give folks, once I've been given the permission to do this, I'll share with folks what the actual floor of our space looks like. I just want to point out that we are not using this specific app anymore, but we will use something fairly similar. This is the first main floor of our exhibit hall listed here. We're going to focus on this area called Rhinelander. Rhinelander is the first floor of our exhibit space. Currently, it's been a really great year for APAP. We have about 30 booths left, and this does not usually happen this early for us. So this is a great time to get in, lock your space. Most of our remaining inventory will be here on Rhinelander, which is a great floor. I really like it. It's very young, and it's a lot of newer folks, and it's a lot of discovery. So I personally like it. We also activate this space a little bit differently because we use it for the discovery zone, which I'm circling here with my mouse. It's also labeled discovery zone. This is where we put in sessions throughout the duration of the conference that in our time there together. It also doubles as a meeting space as well. And then we move upstairs to America's Hall 1, which I'll go back just ever so briefly. There is only one, which is right here at the bottom, and then escalators going up. 1 and America's Hall 2 are pretty similar. You can only get to them via escalator. And at APAP, like I said, most of my inventory is on Rhinelander downwards. Just here, just in case people need to take a second before I stop sharing my screen.
And JG, I think your signal is cutting in and out a little bit.
Oh,
Maybe
is
if you
it?
turn off your camera, yeah, it might
Yeah,
help
no worries.
with your stream a little bit. I just want to make sure our fabulous attendees can hear you.
Perfect. Is there anything that folks didn't hear or that I cut out that I can go back over? Hearing nothing, I will jump it back to my team to continue on.
If you can hear me, I had a quick question. I don't know if you guys can hear me right now.
We can hear you. Yes, please.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my signal is not that good either. I'm a bit far away. I'm all the way up in Canada. Just kidding. So anyway, I was wondering, when you do get a booth, does it comes with 2 chairs and 2 tables? Does it come with electricity or not? Is that extra?
Great, great question. That is extra, and it is handled through our electrical supplier on site called Encore. Every exhibitor will be receiving an email rather shortly, actually, this week, with the contact information for Encore, which handles electricity, as well as our show decorator, GES, and items that you can purchase from them, and along with a reminder on doing booth badges. But you will receive that information beginning this week and then periodically all the way up to the conference.
And do you happen to know the rate for the electricity if you wanted to get it?
It will depend on how much you actually need. I will be very honest. It is a union house. Rates can be quite expensive, and because it's New York, it's just generally going to be expensive.
Yeah.
So I always recommend for folks that, especially if you do other conferences, to invest in heavy duty battery packs and other electrical needs like that, just because you
Yeah.
can keep using those over and over. But everything will be laid out on their site. It's a pretty easy to go site, so you can just kind of add things and see what the total cost would come should you need an extension cord with this amount of power to
Right.
do X what you need to do.
And are we allowed, on the same subject, are we allowed to play any music? Like not is there a certain volume or not at all? Or if we bring like a Bluetooth speaker or something like that, battery um, empowered, can we play some little bit of ambiance music or not? Or
Yes, we require a headphone use. It should
headphone?
not be able
Yeah,
to disrupt your partners.
perfect. Headphones. Yeah, got it. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thank you for that additional information. I will also add, as it relates to ordering services for your booth, such as electricity or internet from our on-site production partner, once you receive the exhibit kit, please go ahead and order electricity earlier. I believe there are discounts for ordering earlier in the season as opposed to waiting until you're on site. So once you get that exhibitor kit, it'll have that information on how to move forward with those types of services that you may need for your booth. And with that, I do see some questions in the chat, but we are going to ask that we hold questions until we get to our Q&A discussion period. And with that, I would like to introduce our peer panel today. And we'll be talking about how and why we participate in the EXPO Commons. And with us today, I would like to welcome Natasha Godin, Chief Business Officer with Godance, Imani Godin, Founding Artistic Director with Godance, Chris Kaminsky, Senior Manager Partner with ECE Touring. Chris is not with us at the moment. She's had a bit of an emergency and she will try to join us as soon as she can. Aaron Shackelford, Director of Programming with Duke Arts, and David Wanning, Executive Director and President, New York Gilbert and Sullivan Partners. And I thank you all for joining us today. And I'm going to ask each of you to share a bit of introduction and your background. And let's see, I see Natasha, so I'm going to call on you first. Thank you.
Hi, Neil. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. We are honored to be here and grateful for the opportunity to speak about our past experience. I am the Chief Business Officer for Godance, which is a 501c3 performing arts organization targeting underserved and marginalized artists and communities.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mia.
Imani.
Hello, everyone. My name is Imani Godin. I'm the founding artistic director of Godance. I am a dancer first. I'm also a creator and choreographer, and I started Godance because I wanted to help other artists who were similar to me. And yes, I went to SUNY Purchase College. I graduated with honors, and now I'm here. I'm 26 years old and doing this nonprofit thing, which is tough. but I enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Imani. David, good afternoon.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the chance to speak to you today. My name is David Wannen. I'm Executive Director and President of New York Gilbert and Sullivan Players. Um, like Imani, I am an artist first. I'm a singer-actor. I've been performing with this company for 23 years now. And I'm a manager in sort of second, studied business at Columbia University after getting my voice degree at Eastman School of Music. So blended it all together, and for about 20 years, I've been doing touring management, touring booking, as well as all the other responsibilities of a 501(c)(3) nonprofit arts organization as well. So it's nice to be here and talk with you all.
Thank you, David. And Aaron.
Hi, everyone. I'm Aaron Shackelford, Director of Programming here at Duke Arts, which is a multifaceted arts presenter at Duke University. We present about 60-some performances per year across basically any creative practice that's happening at the university. We present in about a dozen venues, both on campus and in the city of Durham here in North Carolina. So excited to give the presenter perspective to this conversation today.
Thanks so much, everyone. And let's see, let's start. I'm going to ask you all to share why you attend APAP NYC and why you find it beneficial to be an exhibitor.
I'll start.
Thank you.
So I attend APAP, or would be my second year attending the conference. The first year I went because my mother is a business person, and like I said, I'm an artist. And my mom really wanted me to understand. Sorry, my manager really wanted me to understand that the business side of what it takes to be an artist, to run a nonprofit, to run a dance company. And so I said, okay. And we just went into the conference open. We were ready to just receive any information that we could possibly receive, especially because although my mother does business, the business of art is very different from just like any regular standard business, in my personal opinion. It's a lot more complex. Artists are sensitive. And so, yeah, I believe I attend the conference just right now for information, especially since our nonprofit is only 5 years old. We made 5 this June. So we're very young, and we just would love to meet as many people as we can. We know that the art world is full of connections, and that is a lot of what can make or break your company, your artistic career, etc. Yes, and that's in short, that is why we attend the conference. She might have more to add.
So I'll add, if I will, at that point, branding, exposure, connection, conversation, inspiration. We sat on every single training session with APAP to get the information. Believe what they say. It is a group of professionals who know what they're doing. Listen to them. The veterans that we are privileged to be in the room with is outstanding. It's like no other conference we've ever attended. And I attended a lot of conferences at the corporate level. This conference, APAP's team kept saying, find your people. We went to find our people, and we found our people. It's a journey. And by exhibiting, it was an office. I may be jumping ahead. Let me back up. We attended, we found the conversations. It's about not pitching, but finding the real conversations, leverage the opportunities. There's a lot out there. You have to put your strategy together, be very thoughtful and mindful, plan it, but we knew we were in the right place and the investment was worth it for us.
I can speak next. I have attended, I think this 2026 APAP will be my 19th APAP. And I love APAP for a lot of reasons. One of the greatest reasons is that it's a conference that's really about the work, about the art. That comes from for a couple different reasons. One of the reasons is it falls towards the cap or the bookend of the booking cycle. So as managers, agents, artists, producers, we're working often on the following year's touring. And APAP falls right as, after about a 3 or 4 month period of intensive work to try to get things lined up for the following year. And because of that, often APAP can seal the deal for tours that are happening the following year, but it also serves a really unique function in that it is more about the work. And presenters, at least that I've spoken to, often come to see work at APAP. And they're very interested in the art, the performing art that anybody and everybody is doing. And so it has a sort of unique place in the booking world of where often the conversations that I have with people are about the art, which is really nice. Sort of the pressure is off to wonder whether or not you're working together next year, at least in our experience. And it's more about, oh, wow, I haven't seen your show before. I've really enjoyed coming to see your show. The backdrop and environment of New York City is wonderful because, as you said, there are the wonderful showcases in the hotel, which I have taken part in and are very successful and are there's a lot of value there, as well as offsite showcasing in theaters. And we have taken advantage of that in the past couple of years. And that drives people to see your work as well as artists. So really just a great opportunity to focus the conversation about the art, and APAP will always be great for that reason.
And I'll really just chime in. I agree with everything that's already been said. I mean, I think everybody's used the word conversation. I think that's really one of the key components. As a presenter, who I show up to APAP with a sense of what the next season will be, but as David said, you're sort of you're figuring out bits and bobs, but it's more about the art. It's more about the conversation and the experience. I think that's the benefit of the Expo Hall in particular, because that just really feels like the town commons of APAP, and where I run into and have as many conversations with presenters there as I do agents, because you're seeing people or people you've been wanting to meet there on those floors. Just the way which it's laid out lends itself to that very human, social, conversational component, as opposed to strictly, oh, we're only here for business. We're here for art and the business of art. Yeah, so it's a wonderful experience, and I always look forward to it every year.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing so much insight. I am going to go off script just a bit. I'm going to ask Rena Shagan to share about her experience and why she exhibits. I know that's off script, but one of our panelists is a bit delayed, and so I think it would be nice to hear from another agent, if you're so willing, Rena.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Okay. Gosh, I've been coming to APAP for probably close to 40 years. So that's a very long time. And what I have always found, it's a real place for good conversation. It's an opportunity for me to tell folks about what's been going on with the artists. It's an opportunity to go out with people to see work. Very often we'll kind of walk around, there are showcases going on, and we're walking and we're going around to see the work. It's a very good place to ascertain, I think, as a new person. One of the things that's so important is to ascertain what the needs are of the person you're speaking with. Why are they doing what they're doing? How do they want to go about doing it? Can they do it better? And what can you share that will help them do that? That's why I've always gone. And it's a highlight. It really is, especially now in these crazy times.
Thank you, Rena. Thank you, panelists. I wonder if we might move on to share some of your reflections about your experience in the Expo Commons, and if there is a memory that sticks out as really impactful that you'd like to share today.
Imani, why don't you do your experience first?
Okay. Well, again, this was my first APAP conference. I had a list of presenters, agents, people that I wanted to meet with, speak to. But because this was my first conference, I didn't get ahead because I didn't know that you had to start reaching out to people in like August for meetings and such because people have some limited time. And so I'm just at my booth and with my team, and there was someone who walked by. What was his name again? I am so sorry.
Steve Love.
Steve Love. Steve Love is someone that I never thought I would ever interact with ever because he's someone that is known in the Broadway world. I'm a dancer, not in the Broadway world. And so he comes by our booth and he's like, I really don't like your banner. And I'm like, excuse me? So, you know, he keeps talking and everything, and he had so much to say, but he stuck around and he had a lot of things to say about what he didn't like about our banner and, you know, how he couldn't see things, or maybe he would have changed the image. And then he shows us what his image would be, and the artist that we were representing was a little bit put off because they just didn't know how to interpret this interaction. Well, you know, he continues to give us advice. He shows us all of these different things. He has done APAP. He's been in this world for a very long time. And then he proceeds to do a dance competition with me. And so now we're battling in capoeira in the middle of the expo hall. And he ended up having to leave because he had another meeting to get to. But the fact that he was just walking around the expo hall, he stopped by, and what I took from it is that he gave us advice. Because I asked him, I was like, "What don't you like about our banner? If if you don't mind expanding." And he did. He gave us a lot of pointers that other people might have thought, but they're not going to say it. There's thousands of people at APAB, and there's thousands of people in the expo hall, or hundreds. I would say thousands, but you know, it's not every day that you're going to get free advice like that. And especially from someone who's seen so many things. So I thought that that was a really cool experience for us, because then it helped me really evaluate the image that we had, really think about the types of people that are walking around the expo hall, seeing what caught their eye. And the thing is that even though he said he didn't like it, he still stuck around and he continued to talk to us, which is something that wouldn't have happened if our banner wasn't so bad. So it wasn't bad. It was actually an image of me um, on a swing. I really like the image, but everyone has their opinion. So I would say that was a really great experience that I had. And another was that a presenter stopped by. He sat down, had a conversation with the two people who were at our booth. Then he left and came back. He said he would come back to chat with us, and he did. We didn't end up moving forward with presenting at this venue. However, now we know who this person is. They've seen our proposal. They know about us, and they can spread the word as well with their friends and people that they know. So just being in the expo hall alone brought along two people that we just didn't think that we would interact with. And again, it spread the word. So that was my experience that I had. That was memorable.
So, oh, sorry, Dio.
Oh, no, please go ahead, Natasha.
Our CFO was at the booth for opening day. We learned that we must have the right people in the booth when the doors open. The CFO said a flood of people rushed into the EXPO Commons, and it was something like she had never experienced before. So she was not prepared for the influx of the people. The traffic was incredible. So we learned you make sure if you do this as an independent artist or independent organization, independent manager, be prepared for when the doors open. You want to make sure your booth is staffed as well. So if you're thinking of being a lone ranger, you will not be able to get to the rest of the conference because it is go time. It is activities. I believe JG said it. The conference is not the time for the planning. And that's one of the things you have to do before the conference is planned. The booth was important for us because we knew that people could find us and people did find us. Imagine a funder tracking you down at your booth before they got on their plane because they saw a showcase at Imani's showcase offsite. The funder ran us down to make sure we knew about some deadlines coming up. That was huge. We had very specific experiences like this. And we also had an opportunity to book some meetings at the conference because there are organizations that welcome that if their calendars are not full. You have your presenting organizations and your very seasoned managers whose calendars are already booked. That is not the time to approach anyone. They're not being rude. We knew this because we had the information preparation before the conference. So we knew anyone walking by sightseeing, they may be drawn into your booth. You have to do something memorable. And those are nuggets you have to pick up during these conversations, during these sessions. So we were able to capsulize all of the information and put our strategy together. But one of the biggest things was make sure your booth is staffed if you're going to do a booth so that you can get to other events, because those are events where if you're an independent artist, you may be looking for another artist to collaborate with. You're going to possibly find that at other showcases. You may be an artist with access to presenting sites yourself. You will find something at APAP. There is something for everyone, and we really, really liked to have the opportunity and the exposure. And if you need assistance, we noted that APAP, the APAP team was everywhere. They were everywhere all at once to have such a small core group, but you rely on their direction and expertise. Reach out. They will help you.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Imani. David, anything to share?
Oh, sure. So one of the interesting things is that in the last several years, particularly since the pandemic, but also in years past, going back to my very first conferences in the late 2000s at APAP, our company participated in showcasing by actually aligning its home season, the home New York season, with the APAP conference. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to invite people to see the full productions with a full live audience. And there's nothing like that, right? When you're seeing an audience reaction and you're seeing a full house and all those kinds of things. It's a great privilege that we have being based in New York City and one that we have enjoyed. And as far as that interacts with the exhibit hall, oftentimes we feel very spread out between running the production and having a conference presence at the exhibit hall. And we've learned to juggle that in a way, but I could never trade the value of the conversations the day after presenters have been able to see our work in the theater in New York City near the conference. And oftentimes, those are people who have seen our shows for the first time. And just as an example, I had one of those presenters see the show last year and just love it and come by the booth. And they weren't on a routing for, for the next season or anything for a routed tour, but they loved the work and they were like, let's talk, in the fall next year. And wouldn't you know it, I just saw that presenter at a Midwest conference following up from that APAP meeting in the exhibit hall. And we are planning to work together the following year. And that's how often the performing arts works, where it's a multi-year investment, it's a multi-year relationship, and it's more than transactional. It's a connection first, and then something can happen down the road. And it's just wonderful how APAP really provides that opportunity. And the exhibit hall for me has been filled with experiences like that throughout the years. It is a big conference, but somehow that magic happens when we produced a new version of one of our big shows, The Mikado. The reviews and the news of the production coming out, it was a more inclusive production and a really 21st century adapted production, um, coincided with APAP. And I couldn't tell you the support that I got in the exhibit hall from people showing up and saying, "Oh, we read the review and the feature in the New York Times." They were giving me congratulations and really showing support of the company and what we had done. Not the least of which was former CEO Mario Garcia Durham, who came by and expressed that support and said so publicly. And it was an amazing couple days in the exhibit hall. It was one of my favorite experiences from my time there. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, from the presenter perspective, it's a slightly different experience. I'll just say some of the echo what David said, that a lot of the conversations I have are not necessarily about what we're going to have next season. It's really just kind of sharing what work is happening, so that sometimes I really quickly have to hop on the phone to fill a gap, and other times I sort of get to see from afar the evolution of work of an artist or an ensemble. So it really is the place where you get this really meaningful download of sort of the state of the field. And something else, as a presenter, like, I don't think it's physically possible to stop at every single booth and have a meaningful conversation. So as presenters, we are constantly triaging and, having to make decisions about, which booth we stop at, who we're going to be able to have a conversation with. And that's even if you were there for all the opening hours of the Expo Hall, which so often, we have other meetings. So I'll just say there's a lot of different kinds of presenters, and some of the most valuable meetings I've had in meeting new people was folks who reached out to me who took the time to really understand the work that we present at Duke Arts or whatever organization I was at. There's a lot of different kinds of presenters and a lot of different kinds of artists and agencies in the hall, and not all of them align and match, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, that's why we're there, is because our field is so wide ranging and so exciting in so many different ways. But the number one piece of advice I always give people is, take the time to look at what a presenter is interested in. And uh, I've had some of the most meaningful conversations with new artists when, they looked at our season, understood what we're trying to do in our little neck of the woods. And even if we didn't book the show per se, it was still meaningful to have a conversation because they recognize there's a value in the connection there. Um, I mean, my favorite, again, I feel like I'm echoing everybody else, but I remember when I was first starting out in this field, I think it was my first or second APAP, going to a booth and talking to an agent who then invited me to a showcase that night, and that just felt so. That was one of the times where I really appreciated the magic of APAP, where I suddenly found myself going to this private showcase that was just for presenters in downtown New York, and it for me it felt so cool, but it also felt just so magical of like, oh, we're seeing work that is still in process, that's not available to the public yet, that is still being built. And APAP in New York in January is such an opportunity to get to see the sort of magic that happens in our field in so many different ways. And that's one of the things I love about having all these conversations is because you do get those, you get verbal insights as people tell you about the work, but then you also get to see the work and you get to see the work as it's being developed. And there's no replacement for that in our field.
Thanks everyone for sharing so much great information. We'd like to move back to some of what you've mentioned about the advanced preparation that is beneficial when exhibiting or participating in the conference for all attendees. Can you talk a bit about how you use the advanced attendee list to do research and to strategically plan your experience on site? Who would like to get us started?
I'll start. Leveraging that information, it is your golden ticket. Be mindful of any fraudulent list. If the list hasn't come from JG, it is not a good list. Don't pay for any list from anybody. So we take that information, we capsulized it, but to understand exactly who was going to be at the conference. And then we began to target those different organizations, organizing them into performing arts or dance arts or education, fellowship, residency opportunities. We used it to pinpoint exactly who we like to at least be in the same room with, because the other piece of this outside of the list is the app that is utilized is just brilliant because you can see where other people will be. So you have your consolidated list that you're using to then see where these people will be. And you can actually be in one of the affinity groups or the plenaries where you are these different sessions or even showcases, you will recognize names. And if you study your list, you'll recognize names of people you may be interested in connecting with, even if it's on the fly. We were always prepared to scan our other people's badges because all of the information scans right into the app. Have your badge available to also scan. And that's one of the very valuable things about the list for us. The other thing I wanted to mention in the prep work is don't overdo your booth. The simplicity is key. You want to have a scannable QR code so people can see your work or your EPK electronically. That is key. Gaudence has a portfolio of works that Imani has been creating, and you're not it's not the best move to have every single work laid out for someone to grab a flyer. There are very few flyers that are needed. Everybody is not trying to grab one, but for the people who want it, you want it available. So we're talking 25 to 50 pieces. QR code is key. The figuring out how to dive in, it's not an exact science. You have to create your formula. And so you use that list to create your formula. You're going to set your goals, some very reachable goals. Don't be overwhelmed. Look at the information. Don't be deflated if you can't get appointments or get somebody to look at you or talk to you. Somebody will do that if you're just in the room and you make yourself very fluid to this. Keeping the booth simple with very nice, stunning, simple banners. That's all you need as an independent or emerging individual. I think those are all of the points I wanted to make about using the prep work and getting ready for what you need to do. Oh, one other thing though, share a booth. If it's more cost effective for artists you can split that cost because you can share the booth if the whole booth investment is not for you. But I do encourage to get one so you can even be in the expo. The exposure is incredible.
I'll chime in and just say that uh, our focus, and I served on the board of North American Performing Arts Managers and Agents as well. So um, some of this comes down to ethical practices between artists and agent managers and presenters leading up to any conference. But I would highly recommend, of course, everybody do their due diligence on the attendee list, clean the list, only sending to emails to presenters who present the kind of work that you do, the kind of budgetary uh, areas, ranges that you work in, and making sure that your list goes out to people who can receive your notices and your marketing uh, and do something with it. That's the thing that we all strive for. So cleaning the presenter list and only sending to presenters, don't send to other artists, don't send to other agent managers. There's a lot of um, clogging up the bandwidth of everyone by sending to inappropriate people on those attendee lists. So definitely spend some time with the lists. Try to do due diligence there. Um, but that being said, I'll tell you that what we do, we will send one or two emails to the fall to that cleaned list, uh, saying hello, um, asking if people would like to have an appointment, mentioning our booth number in the hall and location and which floor we're on, as well as a quick few lines about any work that we're working on currently and what we look to tour next year, as well as the invitation to come see our showcases. What I love about APAP, definitely take advantage if you are going to showcase either on site at the hotel or offsite. Use the showcase listing purchases while you register for the conference and purchase your booth. Get a showcase listing for every performance that you might be doing at the conference. The entire industry really looks at those and maps out their time. I think Aaron mentioned something about that. And you want to be in the book. You want to be on the app. You want to be in there. The new app that's been used over the last couple of years is great. I love the way that the showcases are listed by time and thumbnails and all that is really good. So inviting people to those to see that work is extremely important. They will do their own homework, sifting through everything, filing things away. I don't do more than one or two emails, but it's just, it's part of the process, especially as an independent producing artist, that we have to rely on getting to everybody very quickly. We have to use a little bit of that email system to get the word out. Anybody that is of particular interest for an appointment or time you want to spend together, send a good old-fashioned email, or that's really the best thing to do, one-on-one, individualized, and spend time using the system in that way. That's the best advice I can give in terms of prep.
Thank you, David. Aaron, from your perspective as a presenter, can you talk about what's most useful when you're receiving advanced communications?
Yeah. Again, echoing what everyone said, and I already mentioned, the attuning to the sort of work that that we present, and as David said, sort of contextualizing the work that we could potentially have a conversation about is just so helpful. I do, when APAP time comes, it's not unusual for me to get 100 messages in the course of a day from various APAP related things, because there are the Expo Hall, and then there are showcases happening all over the city. So it's a lot. And it's having an informative email is so very helpful. I will say personally, I'm biased, but I've noticed a couple folks embracing apps like Calendly, which actually I use myself. But anytime where we don't have to go back and forth to schedule a meeting, but I can just click on a link and add that meeting, that alone is saving so much time that adds up. So I'm a huge fan of that. I understand why not everybody, that may not work for everybody's style, but definitely encourage folks to take a look at that option and possibility, especially if you know you have set booth hours that you're going to be in. Because again, just that back and forth alone can take up so much time. Um, and again, I think for being, actually being at the expo hall, um, again, it's nice to say hello and to greet people, but again, also sort of understanding, we're always in such a hurry and we're always moving from space to space. So sort of finding that balance between stopping somebody in the hall to talk with them a little bit, but also recognizing that's probably not the time to have a pitch, even if we're in the expo hall, unless they've sort of come to you specifically for that. It's great to say hello, not as great to try to talk through a show to somebody who's right there. But yeah, for the advanced, I think just research. It takes a lot of time, but that is really the secret sauce.
Imani, is your hand raised?
Yes, I just wanted to add one additional thing. I do want to second what David said, because like if you send out emails to everyone, everyone receives them. And I am not a producer. I'm not going to open an email that is talking about producing. So I would like highly, highly second that. And being specific with well, I guess I'll have three things to add. Being specific with who you want to reach out to, because it doesn't always have to be presenter or producer. Also, artists looking for agents, artists looking for, or companies looking for touring agents or managers. Those are also people that you can reach out to, that I would say would be smart to reach out to, because then they can help you with future booking, with producers and presenters and venues, etc. So I think that is one piece of advice as an artist or an individual that I would give. How I search the list, I look at places where, one, obviously they would accept my art, the type of art that I create. And I also look for presenters in venues that I have wanted to present in, and or that I have presented work with someone else under another choreographer, and I know that they would like my work, or maybe someone that I've spoken to in the past, and I want to meet them in person. These are people that I'm looking for on the list, or even states. Like I'm very specific about a state that I would present my work in. That's just me, because I know that I'm in this body, and I know that I also use people who are also in a similar body as me. So where would be safe for us to go? Things like that is what you should look out for, not just like my favorite choreographer presented here, so I really need to present here. Like that's just not how it works in reality. And the other thing that I will add for prep as an individual artist is tap into the mentorship program. It was really, really helpful for me. I got someone that I really appreciate, who I think is on this call, Mario Durham. He was awesome to speak to. I just really appreciated the information that he was able to provide, not only for the conference, but also other aspects of my career that I'm interested in. And also just giving advice on how to be a leader, and that it's always ever changing. These are just things that he told me, but he was someone that made me feel more comfortable and confident in going into the conference with this kind of unknown, especially because at the time I was 25, and or however old I was, I don't know. Either way, I'm in my early 20s, which is intimidating, because most people at the conference, especially those who are seasoned, are not in their 20s, and they have a lot more experience in this, and it's daunting. So yeah, definitely tap into the mentorship program. I think that was really helpful for me. And also talking to the APAP team, coming to every meeting, even if it's just to sit and listen. I didn't really understand what they were talking about, the difference between a presenter and an agent. It was just words to me. So doing the actual conference, I was able to apply what I think was inherently learning just by listening, versus just going in completely blind and not even having heard any of these words before. So yeah, those are like my more than one things that I would suggest.
Thank you, Imani, and thank you, everyone. David, who serves on our conference committee, I think you have a comment to what we were just speaking about. Oh, you're muted, David.
Got it. Thank you. I just want a quick share, listening to everybody and loving everything that everybody's saying, is that one piece for new colleagues, new presenters, new exhibitors is it's okay to say the word no. And in actuality, that's not a bad thing. If I'm a presenter and I'm going through and I stop at a booth and discover that the agent is representing artists that I don't present, that don't work with my series or my venue, it's okay for me to say no, and it's actually a good thing because then that person's not going to waste their energy and time trying to pitch me further when they could be concentrating on somebody who might be a better fit. And so I just wanted to throw that out there that I think we're all we want everybody to like us, and we're all afraid we don't want to offend anybody, but it's okay to say no.
Thank you. And thank you to our panelists again for being with us today. We're going to transition into our Q&A portion of our session. So we are going to invite JG back on screen. JG is going to share the map, and we're going to go over a few technical questions, and then we're going to take some more questions from the chat. And as a reminder, we are in a Zoom meeting format, so please feel free to come on screen and ask your question if you'd like once we get back to that portion. Thanks, JG.
Of course, and I'm gonna stay off camera just in case that's causing this bit of a lag. But we wanted to bring the map back up for folks. We can zoom in, we can talk about it a little bit more, we can answer any questions that folks have about it. And just a reminder, this is not what our map is going to look like. For this upcoming conference, this is an old um, map from a previous year, but it works very nice when you need a demonstration. And I know that there were some questions in the chat, and then we can we can start talking about them as well. So one of the first questions was from Candy Campbell about sharing booths, and you can totally share a booth at APAP. We absolutely encourage this. Natasha also alluded to this. You can do. There is a little bit of a difference. Both of you would have to be registered. One of you would have to be registered at the full conference rate, which right now is $849. We don't allow the artist registration rate to purchase a full booth. That's just done for equity reasons because agents are also purchasing their registrations at that rate as well. But one person has to be registered at that rate of $849, and then they can purchase the booth, which is currently $895. From there, you can purchase booth badges, which again are $295. You're allowed up to 3 with a booth, and you can use those on that partner. You can use this on other people that are coming in. What's most important is that APAP will not work in the finances between the two. It's very important. Oop, I've been told to keep my voice very close to the microphone, so I'm going to go over that just again. You can share a booth at APAP. At APAP, one person has to be registered at the full conference rate of $849 and then purchase the booth at $895. And then they can purchase up to 3 booth badges at $295 each for additional persons, including the person that they are sharing with. All finances are handled between 2 folks so that APAP will only be dealing with the one person who is doing the actual buying. And when it comes to naming the spaces, we'll go with the naming convention of Company A and Company B. However, you guys want to decide who goes first, but that's the naming convention that we will continue with. And then there was an additional question about shipping materials to the venue. So if you don't have large pieces that need to be shipped, which are handled through our show decorator GES, all other materials you can be sent to yourself. One option is that you can send it on site to the package room at the New York Hilton Midtown. There is a holding fee, and there are some specific time tables that you can't, like, for instance, you can only ship up to 3 days in advance of the show. So keep things like that in mind. However, I recommend using a different service like UPS, USPS, FedEx, or even Amazon lockers. Often you can send these there's plenty of locations throughout Midtown, and you can send items to there and pick it up from there. But if these are larger items that you might need some assistance carrying, like you need like a bellhop or somebody, I would send it to the package room at the Hilton. And just a reminder, we don't allow large items, so think like cocktail tables or chairs, to be brought up the escalators. Anybody that has been to APAP will tell you that our escalators are very sensitive beings, and we want to just minimize as much potential damage that can happen to them that may cause them to stop working. So yeah, and then team, I can't see. Oh, I'm going to go to the chat. Feel free to put any other technical questions that folks may have about exhibiting, or come on screen if you need.
AG, can you share a bit just about load in terms of what happens if someone comes to the registration desk and providing load-in badges and such? Can you talk about that a bit, please?
Of course. So APAP does allow additional folks to help you load in. It doesn't have to just be the folks that are on your booth badge or the people that have purchased the booth. Other folks can come in. Once registration is open, all you have to do is just come up to us. We will have registration, which on this map is located right here in the center of the room. I'll zoom in on the main promenade. You come up to the registration, we will give you a registration load-in badge. We will say very simply load in, and then you can proceed forward. And that will be the only time that you're allowed to go into the hall without an actual badge. But this one is issued by APAP. And then conversely, you'll do the same thing should you need assistance for load out. They'll get a little name tag that says load out. And then during those designated times is the only time that they can go into the hall to assist. And then all those times are also published on our website right now at our schedule at a glance, which we can pop into the chat as well so that you can see when those times are.
Thank you so much, JG. I'm going to open the floor and also ask my colleagues, are there other questions that we have? If anyone has one, please raise your hand or just speak up.
One thing I wanted to just share with everyone, sort of piggybacking off of what David Rowell said in terms of it's okay to say no. Sort of the flip side of that coin is I would definitely recommend talk to everybody. I think sometimes what happens with new artists, especially who are kind of coming in and they feel like, okay, I'm laser focused on only talking to presenters. I think maybe you're going to be doing yourself a little bit of a disservice because people do change positions in this field frequently. You also just don't know, you could strike up a conversation with an artist and they could become a collaborator with you. So I would say don't hyper focus on, does this person have a stage they can put me on? And if not, I don't want to talk to them. Be open to everybody. I think you will enormously benefit because you are going to meet people who you just don't know what this could lead to. So keep yourself open. One great piece of advice that our former board member Laura Colby used to just give is, we know everybody wants to be in pitch mode all the time, but just meet your fellow conference attendees where they are. If you're in an elevator with someone, did you see anything great today? Did you see a showcase that was meaningful to you? Did you see a session that really moved you? And then naturally it will flow into like, well, what do you do? Why are you here? And that kind of starts the conversation a little bit more organically. And then you can kind of build from there. I think it was such a good piece of advice, and I definitely wanted to share that with everyone here. I think maybe another question we could ask our panel. Could one or a couple of you just talk about Expo Hall etiquette, especially folks who have been longtime attendees, maybe David Wannen or Rena? We typically share do's and don'ts during the orientation session, but it might be useful to have those shared now as well. I don't know if David or one of the Davids, David Rowell would be good for this too, but if someone could chime in on those.
I can talk about a few things, and there's a topical addition to this, which is really great. It just aired at the NAPAMA meeting. Again, NAPAMA is North American Performing Arts Managers and Agents. It's been a longtime partner organization with APAP. They just recently published a video that's really great. You have to watch it if you can get your hands on it. I'm sure they will be showing it or sending it around at APAP, but it goes through all the behaviors and in a really fun way about do's and don'ts, about exhibit hall ethics and exhibit hall guidelines. The big ones are don't interrupt meetings with other people. Don't go into anybody else's booth and interrupt conversations, or try to grab, for agent managers and artists, try to grab presenters that are walking to a meeting or walking into a booth, certainly, even if they're waiting in line to speak to someone. That's a big one. On the flip side, if a presenter is walking by a person's booth and that person says hello, it's always nice to receive a hello back. If you are rushing off to an appointment, and that artist or agent asks you if you're there, you might be interested in their work, and if they could talk to you about it, maybe say you could come back or try to make a plan for that in the future, as opposed to just outright ignoring them. That is the kind of thing that this video gets into. In general, you want to be respectful of people's space, people's time, and it is a light touch, as I always say, in the sales world of APAP or any other performing arts conference, not a hard sell, not an aggressive approach. Recommend the light touch. Yeah.
Thanks, David. Anybody else want to touch on exhibit hall etiquette?
Break your booth down. At the last hour that you're exhibiting, don't wait until the slot that says break down here. Break it down. Look around and see everybody is breaking down. That's the one thing we would have done differently. Get all of your stuff out of there and then carry on with your evening. David mentioned the ads. Those ads are like $10. Get one for every show, but add your booth number to it so people can find you at your office home for the week. If someone engages, as David just said, with you, if they're waiting for another meeting slot, because that does happen, and it could just create real conversation, chit chat, turns into opportunity oftentimes, because how you present yourself and receive these conversations, someone will talk about you to someone else who may be looking for a you. We had that happen where people said, hey, my venue accommodates 1,500, but we know so-and-so across town who can use 50 to 100 for the type of work you do. Sue just said, be open to everybody and make conversation. David, I believe, said it's not pitching. Don't pitch, talk to people. And those are some of the things that we experienced and got from the mentor meetings the work and process presentation, pitch presentation, just extremely valuable. How do people find you? At your booth. How do they communicate with you? At the elevator. How you present yourself in your costume or whatever it is you have. You can't be flashy in a chicken suit walking around there, but you're always on stage and your presence counts. The other piece, social media, the branding before things, and that's something Godance and Imani we are definitely working on. That's your resume. You're doing that work before the event. People are going to say, well, who is this? They're going to find out. They're going to see your booth sign there. They're going to find out. And lastly, the sizzle. It's you're not doing a full concert. It's the sizzle. People may sit in for a few seconds. They may see you for a few seconds in passing. So it's all about the branding, conversation, connection, preparation, and getting your schedule together. Where you're going to be, using the list to determine the agenda, to determine where you're going to be and be there, and make sure there's somebody at the booth who can talk to you about what you're offering, because you've done all of this branding. Now they want to talk to you. Make sure someone's there.
I want to jump back in real quick because I feel like I may have misled folks a little bit, and I apologize for that. What I meant saying, though, it means if it's not a fit. But the thing that's crucial, and I think Sue said this, David said this, and others is explore. And because, as Sue said, there was something that was really crucial. People change. You may have artists who change representation, who are now with another agency, or a new person at as an agent manager, or everything else. So it's important when you're in this situation, walking around, look at what's going on, because there's got to be and will be new information there, and it's important to be aware of that. And it may mean, okay, great, I want to grab a roster, and the person's busy, so just say, let me give you my business card, can I grab a roster, and move on. But then that way you have the information so you can come back to them, and you can lay that foundation. So it's important to not put the blinders on, take them off, and be aware of what you're seeing and who's around you, and explore. I mean, for myself as a presenter, my first day, I don't book any appointments. My first day in the expo hall is just about walking around, saying hello, reconnecting with people, hugging people, and seeing what's going on, and then I build it from there. So I offer that.
David Raul is a friend. He will connect with you. He remembers you, and we appreciate you, David. Oh yeah.
Have a good day. I have to leave. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And
David,
thank you, everyone.
David did that for us, and he will direct you. If he doesn't have the spot, he will make an introduction. He's that guy. He's that guy.
Thank you, Natasha. A plug for David Rao, who serves proudly on our conference committee as well. Thank you for being here. And with that, thank you everyone for this great discussion. I feel like there was so much information that was shared here that will be useful for your conference experience. We thank you for joining us today. And as we close, we'd like to share next steps. As a reminder, please renew your membership or join if you haven't done so. Participation assistance, which we call PATH, scholarship funds are still available, so please apply. Register for the conference, book your hotel. Our hotel room rate is available through December 9th, but sometimes rooms sell out early, so please, we encourage you to book your room sooner than later. and attend our upcoming Road to Conference sessions. The next one will be October 15th, and I think the focus there will be on showcasing, all things showcasing. And again, we have a few more that will happen through the fall. Also, attend our office hours that are coming up, which is just an opportunity to share and connect or listen in and ask any questions of the staff and your colleagues and peers that may be in the room. And also, I couldn't have done this better. Natasha, thank you for the wonderful ad you gave to mentorship at APAP. We'd like to remind you all to ask a mentor. We have field leaders that are former board members, board alumni, and APAP staff that are here and have graciously offered to mentor attendees during this conference season. I'm going to ask my colleagues to drop a link to a form in the chat. Please sign up if you're interested in connecting with a member and with a mentor, and one of our mentors will reach out to you. You heard about a couple and you heard from one today. Rena Shagan is in the room. Mario Garcia Durham is also with us. And Ivan Zagoda was here. I think he may have dropped off, but we have many longtime experts in the field willing to mentor our registrants and attendees as you plan your road to conference. So again, we've just dropped that form in the chat. Please fill that out and a mentor will reach out to you. And lastly, please, once you receive it, fill out today's session survey. And with that, we thank you all for being with us today, and we will see you on the road to conference. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thank you again to our panelists. We love you.
Thank you.